What's a hidden flex you rarely get to show off but are proud of? My home library. No one I know cares or really reads for fun, but I have an entire room of our house and its books. Organized and everything, and even logged in an app I can see on my phone or computer. They're not just mine but stuff for everyone at all ages and many interests. In case I do someday have a guest in need of entertainment. They're not like rare or valuable, and some are falling to pieces from being read too much. Many I can't find in print, so I have to fill gaps or replace them from used shops. But yeah, that's my hidden flex, is I have a home library. I'm not much of a programmer, but I managed to make a heavily scripted dynamic endless sandbox mission for Arma 3, with an upgradable base. It took me over 1,500 hours total, if counting all my learning scenarios and such. I even started working with a high command AI to make the enemy faction more human-like, but that is still left unfinished, and since I have very little time now it probably remains so. Very proud of that mission still, one of the very few things I genuinely feel proud of in my miserable life. I am a grant writer, and I currently volunteer for 4 nonprofits, all in the LGBTQ community. I've helped them all collectively receive millions of dollars to help with anything from helping transgender youth, homelessness, suicide prevention, and so much more. I don't get paid a dime, and no one really knows who I am. I've done this for years, and I work 2 jobs to pay the bills because people don't like to pay grant writers, but all in all, I'm okay with that because of all the people I get to help. I read really fast. I read even faster as a kid. I remember being in school and it was time to read and I would always finish, look around, no one would be done, so I'd read it again and look around, still no one, not even the kid sitting next to me labeled as gifted. Then I'd go for the 3rd read or read a random other story in the book, even for older age. Sure, that's how I found The Lottery by Shirley Jackson. Also, I retained all the info now, not as much if what I'm reading doesn't interest me. I didn't go to university or college because of learning disabilities. I started out as a laborer at a construction site and slowly learned carpentry over a few years. I'm only 26, have invested well over 100K, and currently make over $50 an hour running my own small handyman jobs. I think a lot of friends and family still see me as someone who is not that smart or successful because I have learning issues and scraped by in high school, but little do they know I am doing well for myself. My first semester of actual university I took a computer science class for engineers learning MATLAB. I finished the class with every single point possible, including the many extra credit opportunities. I didn't miss a single point. I even finished one project on the day it was given when we had at least 1 week. That said, last semester I didn't pass any of my classes. I haven't talked to anyone about that either. I'm scared what's going to happen. I've procrastinated everything. I can spit gum incredibly accurately. I used to dip and then switch to chewing gum, so I basically have chewed gum almost non-stop daily for 10 years. I usually walk past a trash can and just turn my head in stride and nail that shit every time. From my office chair, I can usually spit it into an empty paper plate or cup on my desk. I can even be walking and spit it in the air and catch it in my mouth again. Very weird flex that nobody gives a shit about. No more flexing for me. You never know who is secretly hating on you or being jealous of you for being or having something better. People don't even want to acknowledge, let alone appreciate, the struggles one would have gone through in order to achieve such skills, values, status, anything. I'm even scared of laughing or dancing in front of people, cause some just start comparing their lives to ours, and instead of trying to learn how to get there, start blocking others. I'm double jointed everywhere, and super flexible to boot. Because of this, I'd like to think I'm pretty good at the freaky contortionist stuff horror actors do sometimes. I'd love to show off, but it's either waiting until someone asks or rapidly crawling towards them on all fours like a fucked up little demon creature. The second has gotten me banned from some guy's garage and backyard in Portland. Still allowed in the house though. I had to synthesize a very exotic chemical for my master thesis. I had no clue on the fine details and my supervisor had zero experience, so I ended up doing it all on my own without much guidance. Thanks to a fairly recent publication I managed to finally achieve my goal. I still have the first batch stored in my desk getting toxic. No one seems to care, but I am proud that I did it. And no one can take that away from me. Not sure if this counts, but I was once able to say, to a work colleague, "Who are these clowns?" with a head nod that had them look up to see 2 people dressed as clowns walking towards us. Despite being on the lookout for clowns coming my way when I'm with someone, I haven't had the opportunity to do it again in several decades, and I suspect that might be the only time I pull that off in my life. I'm a trust fund kid, but I have never used any money from it. There are a few $1 million in the fund. Me and my wife has paid for our own vehicle, wedding, and a 40 down payment on a house. We have a few $100,000 in 401k and in savings checking that we have earned from our jobs. No one wants to hear how well someone has it, so I don't really talk about it, and we live a normal lifestyle. I got a driver's license 10 years ago and I passed my test first time after a week's intensive course of lessons. I am really good at driving, but since I stepped out of the car after my test 10 years ago, I have never been behind the wheel of a car. I am a really good driver, but I have a fear of all the things that could go wrong, so I don't drive. But I totally aced my test after only driving for a week. I was the first person to get full marks on their undergraduate thesis performance BA drama. I devised and directed a piece inspired by a post-punk song about sunglasses, that makes the protagonist assume another persona, like a murderous version of the Fonz. Sadly, my graduating class was the final year to do the course, so I will be the first and only person to have achieved that. I can burp on command. The reasons I don't flex it that often are: 1. Not too many people take kindly to constant belching. Even I think this. 2. 99 of the time I do, people think I'm just really good at making the noise with my mouth and start to make their own imitated burp noises they think are better, almost like someone claiming they can do a better foreign accent. I'm the prince of a royal family and only my immediate family, no doubt, have left the kingdom. Don't have to work a day in my life, however chose to work harder than most people by becoming a doctor. To answer the question, I'm not proud of the prince aspect. I'm proud that I became my own person, sort of. I understand that upbringing has a massive impact on who you are. I got a 4.0 on my senior project, which is basically impossible to get because it's the perfect score. Only 2 other people out of the graduation class of 200 I think also got a perfect score. I graduated high school with a 2.1 GPA, low the minimum was 2.0. Oh, I didn't even care at first, low, but as the years went on, this moment has helped me find myself a lot. I read 300 pages a week of mostly postmodern philosophy and tech industry books. I connect lots of things and have lots of thoughts, but no clear avenue to express them without getting overly hung up the delivery. But it's still neat to know that I've managed to start reading again like I did when I was a kid, even if it's basically a secret. I got myself healthy by learning an entire new to me set of nutrition information and transformed my life as well as my partner's. I turned around both of our health problems and we still feel great every day. Together we lost 150 pounds. We've maintained that weight just by eating normally on a plant-based diet, and it's been 3 years. 3. I help out people randomly as my heart leads me. It brings me a lot of happiness, so it's not purely selfless. But like one time I bought this kid who has always slept on the floor a nice full-size bed, frame and bedding of his choice. And let me tell you, years later, and it makes me so happy. I love it when I can do that. I can solve a Rubik's Cube in about 2 minutes. I got so tired of not being able to show off the skill that I bought one for my desk at work, and I tell people that occasionally solving it throughout the day helps me to regain focus when I get distracted, but the sad truth is that I just want people to see me solve it. I'm just a normal blue-collar guy, working a job in construction and work way too many hours. I always am very dirty and my clothes have holes in them because I weld and torch. My fingernails are always dirty because of grease and grime and whatever it takes to do the job. My 401k has over $500,000 in it. I can dance like a motherfucker. Not solo partner dances. Give me a few basic steps, put me with a partner, and I will fake it till I make it. I did a smorgasbord of different dance styles throughout the years. I am not an expert in any one of them, but by God, I can dance to anything. I can play a left-handed or right-handed guitar very well, either one being upside down or right side up, as either a right or left-handed guitarist. If I played a song, let's say Sweet Dreams, I can pick up any guitar and play it. It'll sound the same no matter how I hold the guitar. I can bend my fingers all the way back, like have them completely flat on the other side of my hand. Plus if I fall it looks like I horrifically injured myself, yet nope, double jointed. Instead it's near impossible to hurt my fingers with blunt force cause they're so flexible. When I applied to be a sperm donor, then I was accepted. The doctor described my count as superhuman. I swaggered for weeks after that. Also 2 families of sons because of my help. When they turn 18 they get the option of making contact. Cross fingers they will. I was diagnosed with diabetes in April. Since then I've lost over 20 kilograms. I live with my wife and all of our friends are 100 miles away. My wife's very happy for me, but I'm expecting a lot of wild responses when I get to see people later in August. There was a game on Facebook when I was a kid, I think just called Geo Challenge. My brother and I would play a lot and we both got very good at knowing flags. I'm rusty these days, but I definitely know more than the average person and it often impresses. My degree grade is 1,11,0 is the best. I got an award for being the overall best in my state, but I work in a field where it isn't as important as your skills, personality and experiences. But I recently went job hunting and could flex a bit. I scored 100 on every test and every assignment in my anatomy and physiology class in college. I was also always the first person done with every test. My professor said he had never seen anything like it before. I swear by flashcards. I don't know if it's a hidden flex or just playing with odds, but every time I see a penny on the ground that's tails up, I flip it to heads up and leave it there so that when the next person gets to it they can pick it up and have good luck. I can name most countries, their capitals and major cities from the top of my head and point to them on the map. I'm just waiting for someone to talk to me on the street with a camera and microphone so I can brag about my useless skill. Embarrassed smiley face. When I worked a Little Caesars in high school, I could fold a bundle 50 pizza boxes in under 1:30. Got a 1:12 once as a record, but there's a lot of variables, cardboard quality, bend, etc. Naturally, I folded all boxes when I worked,